Hi. So this video is not on schedule because I decided I was going to make a video talking about the Sandman coat that I showed in the last video. So here we go. So as you know, Netflix released the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman last month, and I may have gotten a little bit obsessed with it, as you can guess from the analysis video I posted a couple weeks ago. In this show, Morpheus has 3 distinct coats that he wears throughout the entire show. He's got his robes, which look like this. They go down to the floor. He's got this coat, which is a shorter coat that he usually wears out and about. It's got a shorter collar and 3 buttons down the front. The other coat that he wears is a longer coat with a bigger collar that he usually wears with the collar popped up. And usually in episodes like Calliope and episode 3, I think it's called Dream a Little Dream of Me, which he wears for more like serious type adventures. So I made this shorter coat because I really liked it and I wanted to make it because I thought I'd look cool in it and it's comfortable. So yeah. So I'm going to take you through the process of how I made this, what fabrics I used, and things like that. I went to my fabric shop a couple towns over, a couple suburbs over, because my local fabric shop was closing down and didn't have any black wool anymore. So I went to Spotlight and I got this kind of like a wool blend, but mostly polyester. Yeah, and some satin lining. I think it's satin. Yeah, this satin lining here. I used the McCall's Patterns M7694 and M8122 for this coat. I used the sleeves from the 7694 pattern and the rest of the stuff from the 8122. I forgot to put pockets on that. I will put pockets on later. I just need to get them done. So first I made a kind of mock-up to make sure it fit me, and it was too long. So I shortened it, and now I think it's a bit too short. I cut all my pieces to the right length that I needed it to be. My pattern size, I used the size 10 pattern, and I just modified like button placement and things like that. I put interfacing into the front panel, into like the front facing panel. I used some iron-on interfacing to make stability. There's 2 layers of interfacing in the collar for stability, I guess, as well. And I just sewed it together, and then before finishing and putting the lining in, I made the sleeves, which I put the sleeves onto the main part and then the sleeves onto the lining part as well. And then I think it's called bag lining, where you just kind of slip the sleeves into the main coat and stitch it all around. I did that, and I also did the collar to close off the lining, and then just did a simple fell stitch to put the lining into the bottom of the coat. Yeah, it was pretty easy. It's quite warm, so now that spring is coming, I'm not going to be wearing this very often. I used 3 buttons that I had left over from a previous project. I was modifying a skirt of my mother's, and I have some buttons left over, and I just happened to have exactly 3 buttons like I needed. So I used those 3 and did the buttonholes. I used my machine for the buttonhole stitching just because I'm not very good at hand stitching buttonholes because I haven't done it very often, so yeah. But yeah, that's essentially all that I did for that coat. It fits me really nicely. You saw it in the Sandman analysis video, so yeah, there you go. That's how I made the coat. In the original coat on the show, his coat is lined with what looks like space. Unfortunately, you can't find any lining fabric that is literally a nebula, so I just went with a simple black because how am I supposed to find space lining? I would have loved a space lining, but yeah. Another thing I want to talk about, I also made a mini Morpheus. I crocheted a miniature Morpheus. So what I did was I used my usual crochet pattern and crocheted one. He's got black pants and a grey shirt because that is what he wears in the show. His hair is a mess. I made two coats. I made this one, the robe, and I lined it with some leftover starry fabric to give the illusion of space. And then I also made a second coat that's very similar to that one. Same with the space lining. I also made him a little sandbag. So yeah, there's my mini Morpheus, mini dream. Very proud of him. It's very cute. Another Sandman related project I'll be doing maybe later on would be I'm going to make his longer coat. I'm going to use this McCall's pattern, 7878. I'm going to use this variation with the big collar. You can see the collar there. And then I'm just going to make it double-breasted instead of tying with a belt because in the show his coat isn't done up with a belt. It's really hard to find good reference pictures of that specific coat because he doesn't wear it that often, and when he does, most of the camera views are from like chest up, so you can't see what the rest of the coat looks like. But I do know it's longer than the other coat, the coat that he wears in Sound of Her Wings, and the collar is bigger, and I think it's double-breasted. I know one of the coats is double-breasted and it's not that one, so it's got to be this one. I'm going to use this pattern, this variation, with some leftover polar fleece from my Onisana's coat. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, so that's all for today's video. I know it's quite short. Next month I will be recording some stories that I've written that may be slightly scary, or they'll make you think, just like because October, scary month, you know. So I'm going to do some psychological stories that I've written, some scary stories that I've written, things like that. Maybe even some fan fiction that I've written that's also slightly scary. Who knows? Yeah, I thought I would film this today because I want to get it out before the end of the month, and also because I will not be in this house next month. We're going back to Singapore because my grandfather isn't very good, so we're going back to Singapore to like provide moral support to him, sort of thing. So most of the videos will be done not in this house, so yeah, just thought I'd let you know that, and see you next month. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe down below. I post every month, at least twice a month, trying to get that. I post about reviews, I post about sewing, writing, yeah. If you like those sorts of things, be sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment down below if you want to actually see the process of me sewing. I think I can set up the camera to show you me sewing. Yeah, and just follow me on my social medias, which you'll find linked below as well. And yeah, I'll see you next week, maybe the week after next, for the first scary story. Okay, bye.